Hi. I wanted to get on here and just kind of be real and vulnerable, I guess. Um, I never thought that I would be someone telling a stroke story, especially at the age of 40. Something you hear about happening to other people, older people, not you. Yet here I am. My journey has been nothing but simple. I mean, anything but simple. So it started with not feeling good. I thought, some there had been something going on around work. Luckily, I had been on vacation that week, but still something had been going on, and I thought I had like a cold or flu. And that started on a Wednesday, and I just laid in bed all day Thursday. I was having a hard time breathing, so I was just taking cold medicine, Corsetin, Littlefoot. And then come Friday, I went to CVS and I got one of those over-the-counter inhalers, and just was taking more medicine and just laying in bed, could barely eat, tried to eat. Then Saturday, I just felt off. I just felt very, very weird. And I decided to take a shower, and I get out of the shower, and even during the shower, I felt like the world just felt odd. And my legs, I could barely stand on my legs. So I go to lay back down. I'm just in my robe, and finally, I'm like, something is not right. And so I came out into the living room where my husband was, and I said, I got to go to the hospital. And he had said I was talking weird, I guess. And at that point, he realized it wasn't even worth trying to get me in the car because I could barely move. My legs were out from underneath me. So he gets clothes on me. I'm laying on the couch. Ambulance comes. I'm barely able to breathe. And again, I was saying weird. I was telling my husband to get the phone off the bed, and I was talking about, I guess, I was asking if I had water shoes. No idea. I guess I secretly wanted to be at the lake. I don't know. But so you get in the ambulance, the oxygen, everything like that. I guess my SpO2 was in the 50s, which it should be around the 90s or 100s. And we get to Danville Regional Medical Center. And I'm thinking I had pneumonia or something, and they do a scan. I don't know what's going on. I guess I told them I was from Nashville. I have no idea. Littlefoot. Love you. So they do scan, and then they realize that I had clots in my lungs, and so I was having a pulmonary embolism. So Danville's not a trauma center, so they take me to, I end up getting helicoptered to Roanoke Carilion. Shout out to Roanoke Carilion. Love that place. Best hospital, best people ever. I thank them with my life, really. I get there, and they decide to do you sew all the lungs on the clots in my lungs, and then the clots in my legs. And so basically the clots in my legs had traveled up to my lungs. So they do an emergency thrombectomy. I get that done in ICU, on blood thinners, everything like that. And they're telling me, I have they removed a lot of the clots in my lungs. They said there was a lot. And I was going to be on blood thinners now for, and they put in, they did a thrombectomy, but they did, they call it an IVC filter. It's inferior vena cava filter. And It's put into your stomach to help keep the clots that were still in my legs from traveling up to my lungs. So basically, like kind of like a fail safe. So they're doing all that. I'm in recovery, and I noticed I had been speaking wrong. I mean, a lot of people that know me know how I speak pretty well, and my mother-in-law noticed it as well, and like my texting was off and everything like that. And so they decided to do a brain scan, and turns out that I had an ischemic stroke on the left side of my brain, which is like the language, cognitive, all that sort of things center. So not only had I had the pulmonary embolism, the DVTs, and a stroke. So then they're like, well, why did she have a stroke? How could it? She had the clots, yes, but there shouldn't be a reason for her to have the stroke. So they did a thing called a bubble test. So basically, they're like putting like air, not in your heart, but like they're seeing. I don't know the whole medical do-how of whatever it is, but they were able to see that I have a hole in my heart, and this is it's called a PFO, patent formal oval, and that is where everybody's born with it. Everyone's born with this hole, but 25% of people it doesn't close for. I happen to be that 25%. So they're like, well, this is how it traveled, because it was able to go from my lungs to my heart, where usually like the arteries, like, it all get cleared out, and it was able to go through that hole and travel up to my brain. So they're like, okay, well, we need to close this PFO. So they did a thing called a TEE, I can't pronounce it even before the stroke. I don't think transvagal. They stick a camera down your throat, basically. And they noticed, because they were going to do it while I was in the hospital. Granted, all this is on Christmas. It's the week of Christmas, which is not fun anyways. And they do it, and they find out that I have a clot right on top of the hole. So it's not safe for them to do the surgery. So they're like, we're gonna, discharge you, put you on blood thinners. There's a strong chance of you having another stroke, because if that clot decides to go in the hole back up to your brain, there's a good chance. So get home, of course I'm not going to be going to work. I had to be monitored all times, just because of the high chance of me having another stroke. So I had a doctor's appointment with the cardiologist, and I started speech therapy and stuff like that. I'm a lot better than I used to be, but there's still, so then a month passes by, and they did another TEE, and the clot was gone. So great news. So then they scheduled the PFO closure, which I just had last Friday. It's been like a week and a few days. But yeah, like I said, my journey has been anything but simple. I mean, it started with the blood clots, the DVTs, a pulmonary embolism, the PFO, thrombectomy, countless tests, and then now I just had the PFO closure. And the funny thing is, even getting to that point wasn't smooth, because I was literally on the table ready for surgery when an emergency case came in, and I had to be taken back to pre-op and wait, not knowing what would happen next. And I was all ready for this surgery. I had been nervous wrecked the whole time beforehand, and so that whole waiting kind of sucked. But everything went all right, and it turns out that my PFO was a little weird. It's a whole bunch of little small holes instead of like one hole, or it's like, so they had to take out the original PFO device and put in a different size one in. So it took a little bit longer than normal, but it's still good. Physically, I'm healing, but the part that people don't always see, and what I'm really struggling with, is everything happening mentally and emotionally. I have speech issues that come and go. Some days I feel almost normal, and other days I can't find words. I mix them up, or I just feel off. This past Saturday was one of those hard days, and it scared me more than I expected, because it's frustrating, because from the outside I might look fine, but inside I know something has changed. And then there's the constant fear, the fear of another clot, the fear of another stroke, the fear that something could happen again, even though I'm doing everything right. And I've had the surgeries and things like that. It's exhausting, carrying that kind of anxiety every day. I'm also struggling with guilt. Feel like I should be ready to go back to work, to normal life, to who I was before. But the truth is I'm not there yet. And the experience has changed me in ways I'm still trying to understand. I'm sharing this because I know I'm not the only one. Anyone else that has had a stroke, or being a young stroke survivor, can feel isolating. People don't always get it. Recovery isn't just physical. It's mental, emotionally, and honestly, sometimes invisible. If you're going through something similar, I see you. If you're struggling, you're not weak. You're healing. And if you're scared, you're not alone. I'm still in the middle of my journey, and I'm taking it one day at a time. So if anybody, is going through struggling through something that people can't see, know that I understand, and everything's gonna be okay. We take it one day at a time. So, I have one more surgery coming up next on the 9th of April, and they're removing the IVC filter. And they'll be doing that through my neck. And we're still trying to work with a hematologist to understand exactly why I had the clots and everything like that. But yeah, thanks for listening, and love you guys.